Okay, again, welcome. Today's flight from Pitt-Greenville to Wilmington International. It's going to be an IFR flight because of the weather. And at least for aircraft and pilots that will fly with a slant alpha equipment, so without any GPS, it should be quite an interesting flight because there is a lot of navigation radio work, I would say. So let's get to it. The weather. On the right side, you can see the weather as I picked it up in the morning, and on the left side, just updates on the winds and the clouds. You can see that compared to the forecast that was valid like a few hours ago, or maybe 10 hours ago, the clouds went actually a little bit lower, and also the winds have picked up slightly, maybe by 10 or 5 knots. So I updated the text here. Icing shouldn't be a factor all the way up to 9,000 feet. And I personally plan to fly at 8,000, so that's fine. The METAR, the wind prediction for surface is from 5 to 15 knots, and I think that the current conditions, or the conditions that were valid half an hour ago, are pretty on the low side of that. So just 3 knots at Pitt-Greenville and just 8 knots in Wilmington. And here at Wilmington, it's more or less runway runway heading wind. The weather also the forecast at the destination is quite better. It is in the visual conditions. So I would say that we either continue with the instrument approach just for practice, but visual approach is viable as well. If I look at the terminal area forecast, I can see that from 20 Zulu, they expect, here at our origin, they expect the winds up to 10 knots and gusting 15. We'll see in half an hour what the next METAR says. We have some light rains are expected. We have normal rains right now and overcast. Yeah, that's more or less agrees. At Wilmington, the weather looks considerably better, at least the forecast. From 22 Zulu, the clouds might come in. And for those in Cessna 152, hello Klaus, uh, you might be interested in that forecast. Sorry. The rest of should be
Yeah,
okay. No, I'm really
I
sorry.
plan.
I really don't want to make a jest. 152 is a great plane. I did P1 and P2 in it. I don't have any, bad word about it.
I plan for VFR, so VFR. So right now, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So let's get to it. Route planning. I will switch to actual map here. Yeah. Just quickly, both the departure and arrival are like they don't play a role in the route planning. So I'll just start with route planning now. And also I would like to say, because this will be kind of for the aircraft that are navigating just using nav aids, it will be kind of a busy work up in the air. So I will just go through it and I will just talk through that, what the pilot should do or what I will do. Everyone might have a slightly different technique. So what I will do, to fly that. So let me switch to the map so I can zoom in on it. All right. So first section, no, not this one, sorry. Um, First section, we will depart, and this is a towered airport. It doesn't have any standard instrument departure. It doesn't have any obstacle departure procedure. So we would just receive, runway, some vectors maybe to the first fix. Even though this route is not navigable, I would say, or it's you should not use it, you can still file, direct VOR or VORTEG in this case. So I will, say what I would do. So still on the ground, and I have like several. I will just zoom out because this is another VOR that will come. It will be important. So first portions will have me flying over Kingston and also at some point utilizing Tar River VOR. So still on the ground, I would tune both Kingston and Tar River to radio 1 and radio 2. Kingston to radio 1 as active to both of them, and Tar River as and standby again to both of them. And after departure, and one more thing, the OBS1, so OBS1 is the needle or the selector on the first radio or first VOR receiver, or OBS2 on the second VOR receiver. I will often mention like VOR1, VOR2, NAV1, NAV2, and OBS1 and OBS2. So on OBS1, I would just turn, turn it initially to some track that I would expect, that the direct might be. So let's say that if I take off on runway 26, flying like that, I would say, okay, before turning maybe at 3,200 feet, because that's Oroka, I would just maybe be here, which is an estimation. So I say, okay, I will pre-select maybe course 200. So it's like close to what it will be. And when instructed by ATC or when I decide that it's time to go direct here, I would just, center that needle and fly direct the VOR. Still on the ground, I would already turn OBS2 to 256, which will be the segment here. And that's quite it. So I depart. I expect to get a signal from this VOR, and it's important to make every time you tune in on either radio, you need to positively verify that you tuned in the correct station. If you have some graphical, a display that will tell you the identifier, in this case India Sierra Oscar, then that's fine. If you don't, you need to tune the audio and listen for the Morse code to identify the station. If that is done, then I can center that needle and fly direct VOR. When I am nearing this, I can tell it on my DME, for example, or that the needle becomes much more sensitive. I can make a right turn to intercept the 256 radial, and I will use my VOR2 receiver for that to establish myself here. As soon as I am there, I would turn also OBS1 to the course 256 because I find it much easier to navigate using my VOR1 receiver, which is on my HSI on my heading selector. I just completely the name of the instrument just went out of my mind. HSI. Okay, not this. I need to turn. So I would follow that on my VOR2 initially, and then switch my OBS1 to 256 to follow the needle on my center instrument. And of course, I expect from indication, so the arrow on the radio will point downwards. Then I will switch the NAV2 radio from standby to active, and that will bring the Tar River VOR into active. And I will turn the OBS2 needle to 196 and fly this. When I'm nearing the ME16 from Kingston, and also the needle on my VOR2 starts to move and go to center, I will make a left turn and again follow that radial from from Tar River. Again, when I switched from standby to active on Tar River, again, don't forget to make the active verification that you have a correct station tuned in. As soon as I establish myself here using VOR2, or if I have time in the turn, if you wish, you can switch the standby active also on navigation 1 radio and fly this, and turn the OBS selector to 196, OBS 1, and fly this using the navigation radio 1. And again, these procedures will kind of repeat itself over and over. First, you will tune, the next frequency, the next VOR and OBS knob. You turn for the next segment on the second radio 2, and then when you establish yourself, you will switch to radio 1 because that's easily navigable. And here, I also wanted to mention, if you can see, we have something, there is a segment and it says segment unusable except for aircraft equipped with suitable RNAV system with GPS. So if you have GPS on board and if you use that for primary navigation, you don't need to do this route. You can go directly on Victor 1. However, if you don't, as I don't, I am Slant Alpha today, I need to go this way because this might I might not have a correct reception. It's unusable, so better be safe than sorry. I fully expect that in the simulator it would just let me fly normally, but we try to simulate real world stuff here. However, this note is valid only for this segment up to Wallow. There, on this segment, I can already use that for navigation. So on this segment, I will use the Kingston VOR and 219er radial. As you might know, we are expected to switch from the VOR that is behind us to the VOR that is in front of us, roughly in the middle, unless specified otherwise. Here it means the complete distance between those two VORs is 110 miles. That means that roughly at 55 nautical miles, I should be switching to navigate using Grand Strand VOR. And you can see that it's 52 nautical miles to Yoast from Grand Strand. That means that if I follow the book exactly, I should switch to follow the Grand Strand like 3 miles before reaching this intersection and making a turn. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. Me personally, I will try to remember and do that. And the way how I will do that is that when I'm flying, when I'm flying along Victor 1 at this point, I will again tune the Grand Strand VOR on my second navigation radio and select the OBS selector to 214. And I will follow this 034 radial in the 2 direction, so the arrow will point forward. I will not switch that to my navigation 1 radio because it's just 3 miles that I need to fly it, maybe 2.5 or something. So for that small segment, I will just fly according to my nav2 radio. I won't forget to switch by my DME indication to show the nav2 so I can identify this. And also when I switch that, my navigation according to nav2, I will then tune my navigation 1 radio, and again, not to Wilmington, because Wilmington R315, radial 315 is unusable, and we should instead use Fayetteville radial 131. So even though this is closer, we should use Fayetteville on the other side, even when being already above this Wilmington. So in my navigation 1 radio, I will tune in Fayetteville, VOR, turn the OBS to 131, and when that needle starts to center, I will just start following the navigation 1 radio toward here. Then, when I'm here, I will tune my ADF to the NDB that is here, and that's in initial approach fix to the approach. And when I'm going through the approach, you will know why. And when I'm approximately this 62 DME away from Fayetteville, I know that I can go, direct that NDB and start the approach. So quite a radio work, switching, turning knobs, switching radios, making sure that you always identify any station before you start navigating using that station, and that also goes for ADF or NDB, and should be fun. Any questions regarding the radio work?
Yes. Where does that NDB show up on? Because I don't see it on the low altitude
Yeah,
chart.
I will go through that. It's in the approach chart because that's and NDB used for the approach.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I'll go forward. Okay, departure. As always, check whether file flight plan, determine runway and departure procedure, and make sure that you do have proper radio calls. I believe that we do not have any controller at this point, so we will basically simulate the non-towered airport departure. However, I will go through the calls for the as if we were under control, because that's kind of something that you need to know when flying under ATC. So first of all, you contact delivery, and it would be it's properly relay. Sorry, I can't read it. Relay, relay delivery. November 123 Alpha Bravo. Sorry, reset again. So relay delivery November 123 Alpha Bravo IFR to Wilmington. That's your call. And you can even include, that you have information, maybe Alpha, Bravo, whatever the ATIS tells you, or that you have weather. It's more important to say when you're taxiing. Then the controller will reply something like November 123 Alpha Bravo delivery cleared to Wilmington via fly runway heading, radar vectors to Kinston VOR, then as filed. Maintain 6000, expect 8000 10 minutes after departure, departure frequency with me, or departure frequency and then the frequency, squawk 1234. You read that back, you got a readback correct, and you start setting up your aircraft and configuring all the radios and such. Then when you are ready for taxi, it's Wilmington ground, November 123 Alpha Bravo. I'm at the FBO, taxi with Delta, if ATIS says Delta. And you can say maybe request intersection Bravo to departure, because it's gonna be runway 26. You will get a taxi route. You read that back and you taxi. When you are at the when you are ready for departure, so you have done your run up, you don't need any handover from ground. You can immediately tune to tower and call them where you are. So for example, runway 26 at Bravo 2, ready for IFR departure. And then you get cleared for takeoff. Since we don't have any controller, it will be standard VFR calls. So you announce what you are doing, and let's agree that is everyone comfortable departing from Bravo 2? Or is there anyone who's not comfortable departing Bravo 2? Okay, so let's depart from Bravo 2 so we don't need to taxi all the way here. Then it's gonna be for me probably 45-degree left departure, so it means climbing to at least 700 feet AGL, then turning 45 degrees left from runway heading, and then continue climbing on that heading to at least 1,500 feet above ground or above airport like field elevation. So in this case 1,500 feet or 1,600 feet, and then you can turn on course. En route portion, quite busy for me. I don't know what you will fly. If you're flying GPS aircraft, then it might not be that hectic. So keep track of the progress. Always know where you are, even when you don't have any map. I mean, like any moving map. You have your low IFR chart, which you can reference your position according to what your radios tells you. And of course, prepare for arrival. If there is any ATC, you can call them if they don't call you themselves and say that you have an approach request and request a specific approach, or they might give you some. Then there might be like a handover, so they will tell you to contact some facility. Again, you read it back. If you're flying and let's say that the ATC is fully staffed, so every position is filled in, that means that your approach, you will be handed over to approach controller at some point. When you like sign in with the final approach controller, it's also good to already have the weather for the field, so you can call them something like Wilmington approach, November 123 Alpha Bravo, 6,000, descending 3,000. I have information, Quebec, let's say. They can tell you something like fly heading, I don't know, fly heading 080, maintain 3,000 vectors for runway ILS Yankee runway 26 approach or something like that. Or there's no runway 26 there, is there? Okay, we'll come to that. And then you repeat that. There is another example. It's more used if you are flying to an untowered field, but if you are requesting full approach, so let's say that you don't have you don't want vectors, you want to practice the full approach, then you can request it here. Request ILS approach, like full approach. And in that case, then they might call you something like November 123 Alpha Bravo, cross wheel Z, at or above 1,800, cleared ILS Yankee runway 24 full approach. And you just repeat that. If you are getting vectors, then the radio calls will be slightly different. So you will be vectored, and at some point you will be vectored to fly like intercept course. It's 30 degrees usually, and when that is done, then your like final call, like clearing you for the approach, would read something like 3 miles from Wilsey, fly heading, in this case would be, I guess, 210, maintain 1,800 until established on the localizer, cleared, ILS Yankee, runway 24 approach. It's a mouthful. You don't need to repeat the 3 miles from Wilsey, but you need to repeat the heading, the altitude, and until established, and the approach you are cleared for. And then when you are on the approach, they will tell you something like contact tower at, and you will respond to contact tower, and then when contacting tower, Wilmington Tower, November 123 Alpha Bravo on ILS 24. And they will most likely issue a landing clearance at that point. Since we don't have any controllers, we can also do like a visual approach. So if you don't want to fly ILS, the weather is quite good enough for a visual approach. So you can just accommodate other traffic and just join the normal pattern and land from that. But the visual approach itself on the towered field, the tower actually tells you what to do. So it might be that you need to enter right base for this runway, or we can agree that every one of us will, enter right base, or that we will just fly the full approach. I think that me personally, I will fly the full approach because it requires a procedure turn, or more specifically, a halt in lieu of procedure turn, and I believe it's in general a good practice. So on to the approach. I will select the approach plate here. And first of all, let's read the comments. It says RVR 1800 authorized with use of flight director or autopilot or heads-up display to decision altitude and ADF required. The same as last week. The ADF here is required because we need to be able to home onto that NDB, WILZ NDB. And also it's important for the missed approach procedure because you should fly to direct WILZ. And LOM is was it outside marker, localizer, outside marker or something like that. Yeah, it's definitely marker and localizer marker. So what we'll do, we'll fly somewhere from here, from the west. So home in or track onto this NDB. When at this NDB, I believe the best enter into this hold is actually a teardrop entry. So when reaching that, I will fly here. That's heading, let's say, 090, something like that. 30 degrees more than this. 090 at least for 1 minute. And then I will make a left turn to join that localizer. So when I left the Victor Airway, I was descending through and I started, homing in using my ADF to this NDB beacon. I would have also tuned my NAV1 radio already for this localizer and turn the OBS to 238. And then when I cross this NDB and fly 1 minute here, I would already, try to establish myself on the localizer instead of, 238 track towards the NDB. It's much more simpler and easier to establish yourself on localizer than on the specific track on the NDB, especially when you have only like a very short distance to get stabilized. So once I cross that, I would basically not need that anymore, but still I would keep that tune in, obviously, because first I don't have anything else to tune in, to that, and second of all, it's required in the missed approach procedure. So then I turn and I can, start and flying the glide slope. As for the vertical profile, it's kind of not typical, I would say. As you can see, the WILZ is the initial approach fix, and you arrive there and you fly that halt in lieu of procedure turn. And if you are not already at 1,800 feet, it's quite alright to descend while doing that procedure turn. And as you can see, the glide slope is intercepted before reaching this fix over which you are doing the procedure turn. And final approach fix is actually a little bit lower and closer to the runway than the capture glide slope point. This arrow says at which point we should capture the glide slope, and this cross is the final approach fix. Here are those two asterisks that were in the description above, and it means that if you are using autopilot, your minima are not 2,400, your RVR is not 2,400. This is the lateral visibility in feet. So the minimum visibility is 2,400 feet. but it's 1,800 feet if you're using autopilot. If not, then this is valid for you. The visibility is like 6 nautical miles, or 6 statute miles at this point, so this should not be an issue. And then you land, and of course taxi to maybe FBO. Yeah, probably there might be a place for us. Or maybe hangars, depends on you. Okay. So that was quite a lot of talking on my part. Are there any questions to any part of the flight? Nope. Surprised? But if you have any questions during the flight, feel free to ask me. No problem. I will be here on Discord listening in. I will also be streaming this flight on my Twitch. I do encourage you to fly, of course. If for some reason you don't want to fly, you don't feel like it, and you just want to watch, you are welcome to my stream, and you can watch that instead.
Maybe one question. I
Sure.
just missed it. The ILS Yankee, it says RNAV or GPS or radar required. So for slant alpha aircraft, you just vector yourself, or how does that work?
Yes. To be honest, I don't know why this requirement is here, and the reason is that I am able to identify every piece of it, using just my instruments. But of course, in the real world, you will always have radar, so that's not
Yeah.
an issue.
Okay.
And maybe then they don't use the full approach, even though it's like built for the full approach as well. So yeah, it says that definitely. Maybe to identify topsy, but I don't know why you would need topsy.
Okay. You could just fly directly to the Wilsey. Strange. Okay.
If you're
Yeah.
very concerned about that, you can use the ILS Yankee runway tree 5, which doesn't have that note, and then circle to land 26 if you want to get spicy. That just depends on your comfortability.
Yeah. But to be honest, I can't answer the question why this is a requirement. There is this topsy. I don't know what purpose it has.
Like the topsy is for the ILS Zulu, but it's also RNAV required, so I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's perfectly flyable, using just ADF and VOR. So.
Yeah. Okay.
But good catch, definitely. In real world, you can fly that even with slant alpha because you will have that radar. So. And radar here stands for ATC. That's all it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who's not flying?
Yeah, Mac Jim's not flying.
Ah, okay. Well, you're free. You're welcome to watch me if you have time. If not, then
I'd like to. Are you using autopilot or are you actually flying the plane?
I'm actually flying the plane.
Well, that's fantastic.
That's the only way to fly.
Yeah, I use autopilot only if the flight is like over 1 hour and extensive straight segments. But otherwise, I like to fly the plane.
Same.
Okay, the link to my stream should already be here somewhere. And when I start streaming, it will also pop up next to my name, but I will send it to you anyway. So this is it. Of course, it's not active yet because I'm not streaming yet. I will as soon as I end with the stream here. So again, any questions during the flight, feel free. I will be here definitely also for the debrief. So when I land, I will be here until every one of you lands. Hopefully. And you can also ask me questions afterwards if you feel like it. And I wish you happy flying. Don't get lost. If you are flying using just navigation radios like I will do without any map, good luck. And hopefully see you at Wilmington.
Happy flying.
Yeah, have
Thanks for
fun.
briefing.
All right. Bye-bye. Or not bye-bye, but for now. Alrighty, it's time to get flying. Briefing is behind us. I will start up the aircraft, configure that, check that if we have any ATC, check the weather again, and we can depart. Alrighty. So let's turn on the aircraft first. Let's turn on the aircraft. All
Clear
the
prop.
switches. Start the engine.
Thomas, can you still hear me?
Very good. Fuel pump on. Second engine.
I can hear it.
Fuel
I'm
pump
wondering if
on.
Thomas is going to report this.
I think he said he's going to record it on the stream, I think.
Oh,
Not sure.
Who was that said that?
Who said that he's going to record it?
Yeah, your voice. Who?
This is Joshua.
Oh, hey, Joshua. It's Jim here.
Hey, Jim, how's it going? I think I've seen you around the Discord server. I've seen your name float around, but never got a chance to meet you.
Yeah,
Hey,
been
something.
around since 2020 in December.
Okay, yeah. I think I was there maybe a year or two before you did, so that's why I feel like I've seen your name
Okay,
before.
the second one was not started.
I'm still a student pilot. I don't have my instrument reading yet.
Fun stuff.
All right.
Always learning.
So,
Well, that's the
some
good
problems
part,
with engine number 2. Let's initialize this one. And just to be clear, I will delete this flight plan. I will maybe use the map view just for taxiing, although it's not needed that much. And let's switch to this view that I will use throughout the flight. And we'll have some timers here. Good. Since it's quite dark, I will also bring some lights on. Yep. Very good. And up top it will be cold, so I will also turn on some heating so my passengers are comfortable. Very good. That's it. Now, I will tune my navigation radios. So, initially, I will use both Kingston and Tar River, so 117.5 to both actives, and standby. I can already see it's ISO, good. And I believe it was 117.8. That's my standby. Yes, and the very same thing I will do here. 1785, alright. And 1175. And transfer. Good. On my OBS2, I will tune in 256, which will be the route or radial I will follow from the VOR when I reach it. And on my OBS1, I will, let's say, initially it should be like 200. Runway heading is 258, if I'm not mistaken. Let me quickly double check. 251 actually. So 257. Great. Altimeter. The elevation is 26 feet. Altimeter should be 2986. So
yeah, definitely not VFR weather today.
2986. Be someplace there. Yes, 2986. Very good. But it doesn't really agree. Maybe I don't have actual weather. Or more likely simulator doesn't have actual weather. Or maybe I'm just staying a little bit higher here. The field elevation is 26. I will use this one, it's not a problem. This goes to active. 2000 because we are IFR. The flight plan is already filed. And let's use Unicom because and coincidentally that's also a CETA frequency for this field. Very
Greenville
good.
traffic, Bonanza 4, correction, Bonanza 8846, Whiskey, departing runway 26 at Bravo 2, straight out departure, Greenville.
And I will do 2992 here because I want this to show my pressure altitude. All right. So I believe it's time to depart. And I will just configure 8000 feet here so I have a reference what I want to fly. There we go. All right. Taxi lights go on. And let's go. Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo Twin Cessna by the FBO. Taxiing to runway 26 via Alpha Bravo, Greenville. Okay, parking brake goes off. And let's get there. And as I said, for taxiing, I will use that because I can't trust the runway markers here at all times. Also, let's double check we don't have that controller because this is a towered field. No, still don't have any controller.
Greenville traffic, Bonanza 8846, Whiskey, passing 1700 for 6000 and leaving the area to the southwest, Greenville.
Okay, so we have already people in the air, good.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, departing runway 26, straight out departure, Greenville.
It seems that the scenery is actually correct, and I can see Bravo, the correct sign, so I can switch off the map.
Winds 255 at 42 knots.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun maintaining the track with those winds manually. Right. So we have an aircraft here. Looks like a Skyhawk. I will just tilt myself a little bit.
Greenville traffic, 91 Bravo Charlie, departing runway 26, Greenville.
So my prop wash doesn't involve the guys behind me. And I'll just make
Greenville traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima, taxiing to runway 26, Greenville.
Okay. Engine instruments look good. Let's test magnetos. That is a good drop. Back to 1700. Test magnetos, the other pair. Again, good drop. Back to 1700. And the vacuum is good.
Traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, upwind runway 26, 1600, climbing 6000, departing northwest. Correction.
Propellers good.
Southeast.
And
Greenville.
idle. Idle good. Okay, I will reset those timers here. Alright, all looks good. So let's go. Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, lining up runway 26 at Bravo 2, Greenville. Okay, so strobe lights go on, or just line up. I believe there was departure before me, so it's good to wait a little bit. We will fly runway heading, well, not runway heading, we will do... Yeah, we will do straight out departure because it's, let's simulate the IFR conditions. I don't want to do any turns. Okay, taxi lights go off, landing lights can go on. Fuel pumps are still on, selectors on mains. Trim, good. Reset the rudder trim.
Greenville traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima, crossing runway 226, Greenville.
Okay.
Greenville traffic, 9 about
Where are they
Charlie,
going?
climbing 1500 through 6000, turning southwest. Final call, Greenville.
Turning, okay. I'll wait for him to call that is clear. Probably doesn't, okay. No call. Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo departing runway 26, straight out departure. Greenville. Okay. Let's crank it. Okay, brakes and gear goes up. Gear is up, and let's try to climb as fast as we can. We are quite light today.
Greenville area traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha is 10 miles north of the Kinston VOR, joining Victor 157 to Kinston at 4000, Greenville area traffic.
Okay, let's go a little bit faster. Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, just departed at 1,500 feet, climbing 8,000. Final call, Greenville. Okay, let's reduce power a little bit to keep within the green marks, or green arcs. I would like to aim for 120 knots. Okay. And continue climb, of course.
Greenville traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima, is departing runway 26, straight out departure, Greenville.
Okay, trying to trim that. Still also need to maintain the right rudder, so I'll just trim it. So I don't need to hold it all the time. All right. I'll actually intercept probably that 200 radial, or more likely it's a 202 radial inbound. Okay, I will turn off the fuel pumps and I can turn off the landing lights. And the direct is there, so let's turn there. I will also turn on beta heat. And let's go. Winds are expected from the west, so I will need to make quite a bit of correction to the right.
Greenville traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima, deployed the traffic area 1,600 feet southwest departure. Greenville, last call.
Right, the range has stopped. Wrong levers. So currently tracking inbound to Kingston VOR, and when we are there, it's gonna be a right turn to intercept this 256 radio. It's a proper soup out there. Good practice. Okay, I just want to have it for the winds. Okay, 6,000 feet, so that's this leaning. Quite a bit of wind correction angle, if you notice. But that was to be expected. Okay, I can reduce that wind correction a little bit. Maybe to this. Let's see. Engine still working. It's great. Okay, my throttles are all the way forward. I cannot increase that anymore. Right. Currently not touching any controls, but I need right rudder, so let's trim it a little bit. Yes, and now I'm flying hands off and feet off. Good. Still some corrections needed, obviously. Okay, I am nearing 8,000 feet.
Kinston area traffic, Diamond Star 135, Lima Alpha, 4 miles west of the Kinston VOR, Victor 54, 4,000, climbing to 6,000 along Victor 54, Kinston area traffic.
Alright, at 8,000 I will level out, level off. And accelerate. Okay. Fly direct, this VOR. Okay, reduce power to 21 inches of manifold pressure. And 2,300 RPM. And then lean. That was already leaned. Good. Alright, I'm rather close to the VOR, but not that close yet. So let's see what is the direct. Let's turn a little bit more. Yeah, I will stop chasing the needle and instead I will turn a little bit to the right to intercept the VOR2. And while I'm at it, I can already turn this knob to 256. There we go. That leaves me an option to switch okay, not like this. To switch to the Tar River, and we are over the VOR right now, so let's turn. Okay, we will need to establish the heading to fly to keep the track. Maybe something like this. We'll try that and we'll see how that goes. Okay, second VOR is T Tango Yankee India. That's correct. And the radial that I will follow is 196. So we'll try to keep it straight and configure 196. We'll be there probably. All right. It should center at about 16 DME here. So let's observe that. Okay. My ground speed is only 135 knots. Great. Must be flying directly into the wind. Which is to be expected at this segment. So no great corrections are needed. Okay, reduce the power a bit.
Kinston area traffic, Diamond Star 135, Lima Alpha, 13 miles west of the Kinston VOR, approaching Joe Such, turning southbound along Victor 213 at 6,000, Kinston area traffic.
Okay, it's 6 more miles before the turn. The needle on the VOR2, which is down here, is not active yet. I'll just check up on my passengers. Yeah, they are comfortable and steady. Good. Yeah, visuals are lacking today. Just clouds. Okay, the needle started moving already. Good. Might be needing to initiate that turn a little bit sooner. We'll see. Maybe now to set myself on the intercept course. So my final is like here. So let's turn just a bit. Like so. Turn my OBS1 to 196. And of course tune. Okay, this is Tar River. Very well. Almost centered, so let's just intercept that. And let's look what I need to tune next. If that's enough. Maybe a little bit more. We expect winds from the west. Let's try this. So next segment then will be again Victor 1, and for that I need to use Kingston VOR that I already have in standby. So let's tune into that. And the course, the OBS selector will be 219er. So that's 220, 219er. Hard to say which is what. And we climbed a little bit, so let's just descend back. Maybe apply a little bit more of a right correction. I expect the winds are brutal. I don't want this here, I want this here. Just winds, yeah, winds are 46 knots. Can already tune that NDB. That's 205. Oh, it seems that I already get it. So let's identify that already now. I don't think I have a correct one. The first two letters are all right. But then it says something different. Yeah, let me see here. There is a navigation. Might have some different letters. No, hard to say. Let's put it on shelf right now. Let's shelf it, and we'll revisit that later. Maybe it has some wrong Morse code identification in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, so our wind correction angle right now is about almost 20 degrees. I believe that's too much. I'll reduce it to, let's start with 15. Let's see how that goes. Okay, I will try to get some update on the weather, namely the altimeter. So DPL. Okay, DPL. Oh, actually, yeah. Altimeter there is 2984. It's like this. Yeah, seems like 15 degrees wind correction angle is correct. Just need to climb a bit, descend it. Fuel is alright. Still 300 pounds in both tanks together. Yeah, seems like 15 degrees is alright, so I'll try to keep that. And of course, the DME I should be looking for is 67. So in just 10 miles, I should rejoin Victor 1. When I'm looking, I start turning. All right. The next segment is just 20 degrees off of this one, so I will try to
Dublin
keep...
County area traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha is approaching Wallow intersection at 8,000, proceeding southbound at 8,000, Dublin County area traffic.
Okay, so I lost the DME readout for an F1 and also I lost the navigation. So well done Microsoft, again this VOR is poorly implemented. So I switched the navigation like the DME to the second radio and I can already tune Kingston. I will do 196. Sorry, 219er. I'll follow that one. So Kingston is in my radio number 1 and I will be following that one. The wind correction angle will ultimately be 15 degrees more, so 234. Okay, let's turn there. And then I'll start dealing with other stuff. All right. Okay, so next VR I need to tune is the Grand Strand VOR, which is 114.4. So let's put it here, 114.4. Transfer. Charlie Romeo Echo, that's correct. I don't have any signal though yet. So let's hope that we can get it. But we should be already getting it. Again, Microsoft just don't have these distances right. Okay, so the radial will be 214. It's about there. But for now we are, and the DME goes back to navigation 1. So I can read this. So at approximately 55 DME, I should already be picking up the next signal. All right. I'll try again that ADF identification. So it has GM and then some 5. It must be some number. So I'll consider that as positively identified because the first two agree. Okay, I'm quite higher than I should be. I might need to descend in the hold because I need to keep this altitude up until Yoast, which is the next intersection that I'm gonna be at in about 18 miles, and then I can start descent. But I might not be able to descend in time. We'll see how that goes. So far, I'm tracking this needle rather successfully. The altitude is a bit of an
Dublin
issue.
County area traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha over the Wallow intersection at 8,000. Tracking to Yoast, estimated time en route 11 minutes to Yoast. Dublin County area traffic.
Okay, it's a dutiful pilot, one of my colleagues at VATSTAR. Yeah, I need to reduce that power because I increased it to climb and I forgot to decrease it. I still have no signal from Grand Strand. But I can already put in case, no, to navigation 1 I will put Fayetteville VOR, which is 11485. Just stand by. And it doesn't hurt if I enter it also here, 11485, in case I am not able to pick up this Grand Strand in time. Okay. Wilmington altimeter is, well, that's the old one. I will look for it.
Wilmington traffic, Bonanza 8846 Whiskey, 3 miles north of Topsy at 2,000 feet inbound for the ILS Zulu, runway 24, Wilmington.
Okay, so 2986. So I'll configure that. That's my final altimeter. I'm hoping that at 50 miles, which is 60 miles from Grand Strand, I will be able to pick up the signal. We'll check the DME. No. I believe at this point those clouds should probably not be here anymore. And I got a signal exactly at 60 DME. Okay, so I should start following that one. I will tune it so it's centered, so I maintain my current direction, yes, like so. And I will switch nav1 DME to Fayetteville, identified, and it will be radial 131 that I need to follow. So let's configure this to 131. And it's already active. Okay, DME is going to viewer number 2. Because it should
Wilmington
be...
traffic, Bonanza 8846 Whiskey, established in the localizer, 10-mile final, ILS, runway 24, Wilmington.
So we are now following this one. And this should actually center at 52 DME. Oh, nice. Coming out of clouds. Nice to see the ground for a change. Bit to the left. Okay, I believe it's time to begin the turn to intercept, so I will begin the turn and start the descent as well. Because it's just 20 nautical miles to Wilmington VOR. And we will have tailwind, of course. So I will choose faster descent than I would normally do. Switch the DME back to navigation 1 radio and configure the approach frequency 11155 into here. So I can then quickly change to it. Okay, 62 DME to the VOR, Wilmington VOR.
Wilmington traffic, Bonanza 8846 Whiskey, 5-mile final, runway 24, Wilmington.
Wilmington traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo Twin Cessna, currently about 18 miles west from Wilmington VOR. We'll be doing ILS runway 24 approach from Willesey. Currently at 6,500 feet, Wilmington. Okay, let's reduce that power yet more. Okay, we're descending, so I will turn my fuel pumps on.
Wilmington traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, about 10 miles northeast of Tuxie, Audi ILS Zulu, runway 24 approach, Wilmington.
So I guess I'll descend to 3000 or so. And then I'll cross that initial approach fix at 3000, because otherwise other people doing that approach will be at 1800 already at that point.
Wilmington traffic, that ends 8846 Whiskey, short final 24, Wilmington.
Huh. And I believe this is actually the airport. But we're not going to it. I could just land.
Traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, we will hold at Tuxie at 2000 to make way for the Twin Cessna, Wilmington.
We could land visually, of course, but I don't want to do that. I want to practice ILS. And more so, full approach ILS. The clouds are definitely different from what is reported in the METAR, but I'm expecting a new METAR every minute. We're almost there, so I will just home in to the NDB, I guess. Still I get the new METAR.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha, 20 miles to the northwest over Yost, 7,800 descending, inbound Wilmington.
Okay, that's 3000. So let's home on the beacon. And I lost the DME readout, so, and navigation as well. So let's switch the navigation to the ILS. This is ILS that doesn't have DME. So I'm just home on the beacon and hope for the best. Going to the right a little bit, so I'll just turn a little bit more right. Heading 1.
Wilmington traffic, then 8846 Whiskey, runway vacated, Wilmington.
It's still running away. So I actually want to keep it on my left side a little bit to correct for a wind. So let's say that I will be flying 150. We'll turn this to 150, and it's still pointing. Well, I'm over it. It's very sensitive right now, so let's not do that. Okay, approach plate. There it is. So turning 29090 for teardrop entry. Wilmington traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo is over Will Z, over NDB Will Z, doing a teardrop entry to join the localizer for ILS runway 24, Wilmington. Okay, let's start.
Wilmington traffic,
1
Diamond
minute.
Star 135 Lima Alpha, 15 miles to the northwest of the Wilmington VOR, 5,700 descending to 3,000 direct to the Wellington VOR, Wilmington traffic.
And let's descend. I said descend. Need to descend and slow down. Okay, there is some aircraft there. It's gonna be a problem. Probably I'll let them pass. Yeah, I'll land behind them. There goes a minute. So I should be turning back, but I'll do so slowly. And let's turn on the landing lights at this point. We're flying to the right, okay. It's definitely not broken. 7,500. Okay, let's check that new weather. Okay, overcast. Okay, so 10 miles visibility and overcast at 11,000 feet. That's not okay. And I busted the altitude. I'm so busted. Talking and not flying. Localizer comes alive. Wilmington traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo joining the localizer, runway 24, Wilmington.
Wilmington traffic, coordinate 36 X-ray. We are just turning inbound on our hold at Topsy and we'll join the localizer after the twin Cessna, Wilmington.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha, 5 miles to the northwest of the Wilmington VOR, 3,000. After the Wilmington VOR will be flying the ILS localized runway 35 approach, circle to land runway 24, Wilmington traffic.
Okay, there goes the localizer. Waiting for the glide slope to come alive.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha over the Wilmington VOR 3000 has traffic on along final for 24 in sight. It will maintain visual separation, Wilmington traffic.
In Wilmington traffic.
Flaps 15.
163 their call. 13 miles from top sea at 2,000 feet. Planning on the visuals from runway 24. Wilmington.
Right, decision altitude is 226. Mixtures rich. Full throttles. Wilmington traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, Twin Cessna, 5 mile final on ILS runway 24. Wilmington. And reduce power. Start descending. So it's outer marker.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha, almost overhead the field at 3000 has the Twin Cessna on 5 mile final inside Wilmington traffic.
Alright, I will try to look just at the instruments and fly this. Just to practice, and at about 300 feet I want to look up and see the runway. So wish me luck. (1,000 feet), so gear goes down. Little bit
Wilmington traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, we got the Twin Cessna and the Diamond Star inside Wilmington.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135 Lima Alpha over the field 3000. We'll be proceeding about 5 miles to the south for the ILS runway 35 approach. Silver land runway 24, Wilmington traffic.
planning to land with just flaps 15. (700 feet). Below the glides, above the glide slope, 500 feet. (400). Okay, let's look out. Okay. Not ideal, but not bad either. Okay, let's slow up.
Wellington traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray on the localizer runway 24, 5 mile final, Wilmington.
Let's go up. Let's just exit here. It's just closing runway right away, so I just don't have any time to call that up. Okay, let's wait until we are across this. Wilmington traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo vacated all the runways, taxiing to FBO, Wilmington. Alright, landing lights off, taxi lights on, strobe lights off, lean that, and let's taxi to FBO, and let's bring that map on. Yep, want to go here. That seems to be correct, yes. This is the beacon. Light beacon. Yeah. Usually I'm quite more, like the weather seems to be more correct. This time seems to be stuck at some wrong weather. Okay, Alpha
Wilmington
Charlie,
traffic, Diamond Star
that's
135 Lima
correct.
Alpha, 5 miles south field 2,500, descending 1,800, turning inbound on the ILS runway 35 approach, circle to land runway 24, Wilmington.
And where do I park? I will just borrow the map. Yeah, I'll park here somewhere. Buy the fuel, buy the fuel. Okay, so we didn't get lost. That's on the plus side. The ILS could have been flown a little bit better. But I'm gonna give myself a pass. Alright, so let's park it here. And let's see where others are.
Wilmington traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, runway 24 vacated at Golf, taxi to South FBO, Wilmington.
Okay, they're landing, or have landed. It's probably blocked by the building.
Wilmington traffic, 163 Juliet Golf, passing over Topsy, direct to Sublee, 10 miles from the field, 13 miles from the field for runway 24.
Okay, so heating goes off. Lightning.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135, Lima Alpha, 4 miles south, 1,600 descending on the ILS runway 35 approach, circle to land runway 24. Wilmington traffic, we'll be looking for the traffic on long final.
Pitot goes off. Taxi lights as well. Okay, great. Yep, I guess I can shut down the aircraft. I will, and that concludes today's VATSTAR flight. If you want to be a part of it, if you watch this video and find out that it is something that you would like to do and learn how to fly properly, then don't hesitate and visit vatstar.com, and you will get the training there. It's an official VATSIM ATO. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time, and until next time, bye-bye.
Wilmington traffic, Diamond Star 135, Lima Alpha.